Hi, this is Optimus Primal, and this is Silverbolt's Transformer Review.
Morning everybody, Silverbolt here, back for another Transformers review, going to be doing, as per the title page, if I was able to upload one, Sunstreaker, Generation 1. Now, as someone who has recently been getting into a bit more heavily involved in DC, because I've always preferred DC over Marvel, I've come across a rather weird thing, as it were, in that it's very hard to know where to begin with things like DC. I mean, they've rewritten so many things so many different times that it's very hard to follow. And I've been interested in the exploits of the Green Arrow, Mr. Oliver Queen, and I was told by Adam and by Matt, start at year 1. So I have done. Which does, of course, mean that a lot of the really old stuff gets neglected. Fair enough. I like the way DC's going. I like the darkness. I like the more grotesqueness of it. Which gave me an idea when it came to things like Transformer reviews. Now, because Sunstreaker, as most people will know, is one of the very few of the original Generation 1 Autobots that I haven't reviewed in any way, shape or form. One of the reasons for that was, I have the G1 toy, but it's away really at the top of the back of the shelf, and it was one of the last toys that I got when I started delving more into the Transformers universe as a whole, rather than just as a one-off series. The other reason I haven't done it, and it is for rather, I suppose you could almost say lazy reasons, in that, well, there's a hell of a lot of information on him. Can you imagine someone doing a review of Batman from the very first issue? How long that video would be, and how much total data information overload you would get from doing that review. Not to mention researching and learning everything. So I thought, seeing as Generation 1 has been having a massive revival throughout the IDW series, I would focus on the IDW series. Now, which does bring me to Generation Sunstreaker. It is Generations? Is it? Yes, it would be Generation Sunstreaker. Not this Generation / Classic / Reveal the Shield stuff that other goodies have come out with. So, on to Sunstreaker, Generation 1 counterpart. Now, in the original cartoon series, Sunstreaker was depicted, well, his bio was someone who was incredibly arrogant, incredibly nasty, and a borderline sociopath. And the only reason that he was kept around was because, well, that's not exactly a bad trait when you're losing a war. And you need a few bits of kick-ass machinery to help boost your own, profile, self-esteem, what have you. The cartoon, of course, of the Generation 1 dumbed this down almost totally, making a few one-off remarks like you're messing with my finish and things like that. And this is a new paint job to totally dumb it down, as they did with many of the characters. I mean, very few of the more violent tendencies of the Generation 1 characters were dumbed down for the cartoon. However, when IDW began their reimaginings of the Transformers Generation 1 universe, they included Sunstreaker, and Sunstreaker is a very prolific character throughout the initial 3 Infiltration, Escalation and Devastation series, and the All Hail Megatron series that followed on from it. Now, Sunstreaker's Generation 1 character has been completely rewritten, going very much back to his roots, as I said. When Sunstreaker first shows up, long before the Autobot War and the IDW continuity, he was very much a patron of the illegal underground gladiatorial arena matches where Megatron came to power. In fact, Sunstreaker was one of the ones that watched Megatron win his 54th battle. and apparently Sideswipe was there as well, though we don't know that for sure. Now, after this, Sunstreaker became very, very close to joining the ranks of the Decepticons when Megatron held his rally to overthrow the Autobot oppressors, as he called them. Sunstreaker was actually there. However, we don't know why he didn't join Megatron's side. We don't know whether it was because, you know, the idea of actually going out and slaughtering a lot of people didn't appeal to him, despite the fact that he is a very violent robot in his own right, or that the fact that a lot of them were caught by Autobot security forces may have had something to do with it. Either way, Sunstreaker did not join the ranks of the Decepticons, and that was something that, unlike Mirage, has never been in doubt. Sunstreaker eventually goes to Earth, where he's part of the infiltration sector. And this is where Sunstreaker's story really kicks off. Sunstreaker has never lost his arrogance and his vanity, so he is very, very much against the 3 human companions that come into the series. This is a bit of a downfall for him in the form of Hunter, who of course is very good friends with Verity, who would go on to become a Wrecker. Whilst Sunstreaker initially shows rather no outward attachment to Hunter, and whilst in fact he actually seems to treat all 3 of the humans as disdainful and far beneath him. During a battle against the Machination, is that how you pronounce it? We don't know. It would appear, I don't know. It would appear that Sunstreaker and Hunter have been killed. In fact, Optimus Prime believes that they are dead. However, this is down due to a plot by Scorponok to capture Sunstreaker. Now, why Sunstreaker? Why did IW pick Sunstreaker? I don't know, for such a pivotal cast role. When Hunter wakes up in the base, he realises that something is very, very wrong, and he finds Sunstreaker, or rather, he finds Sunstreaker's head. Sunstreaker is Sunstreaker has been captured and is being tortured for information. And well, I say tortured for information, but it's not being done in the sense. They've hooked up his brain and are downloading a lot of the component parts and all the information on the Autobots, so that they can perfect something called a headmaster process, which is something that Scorponok has been putting into place. Basically, the same premise as the Japanese saga of headmasters, as in human in a head controls a transsector type body. Sunstreaker is in absolute agony. You know, you really do start feeling for him as an individual, because he is in an extreme lot of pain, to the point where he begs Hunter to kill him, to put him out of it. Well, Hunter doesn't, and Hunter appeals in some way to Sunstreaker's ego and says, well, I want to fight back. I want to get the bastards that are doing this to me. Sunstreaker agrees, and shows Hunter how to become part of the headmaster process as himself. So Hunter becomes Sunstreaker's headmaster binary bonded partner in such a way that the other Sunstreaker / Sideswipe clones are not. However, it doesn't last this way at all. He is able to dupe the machine after Hunter's been able to dupe the Machination to thinking that he is catatonic. He meets up, as I said, with Sunstreaker, becomes a headmaster in his own right. Because one of the things that very much plays down against the headmaster is the process hasn't been perfected yet. Hunter and Sunstreaker, well, Hunter / Sunstreaker themselves complain that they feel very slow and sluggish. This is something that the Autobots are able to use to their extreme advantage in basically poning them. With Sunstreaker as well, yes, Sunstreaker's own arrogance very much comes up against the Machination, I don't know. The bad guys, there we go, the bad guys. This very much does come up against me, in that Sunstreaker, of course, very much like Cypher's Kane in the Cypher's Kane novels, doesn't tend to read mission slates and doesn't tend to make himself aware of Autobot procedures and goings on. As such, he doesn't have that much information that he can, and the Autobots actually use a weapon that Sunstreaker has completely no knowledge of because he didn't read the memo. So there we go. Hunter and Sunstreaker get out of the base and escape. Now, further on down the line, cutting to 1 year later, Sunstreaker is back on Cybertron, and he's been reunited with Sideswipe, and is amongst the Autobots that are pretty much in hiding because they've had their asses kicked, and they're all damaged and broken and beyond repair. And these are the Autobots that are under Prowl. Poor Prowl, he gets a right going over in the IDW comics, but there we go. Now, during the whole point of this, they believe that there is a traitor amongst the Autobot ranks. Now, going on with some of the similarities from the original Generation 1 series, they believe it's Mirage. Now, indeed, Mirage is actually quite brutally attacked by Ironhide. Ironhide actually learns that it's that it's Sunstreaker that betrays the Autobots, and it's done because Sunstreaker is still very much... Sunstreaker has an awful lot of hate built up within him, and when Starscream says that we have a way to destroy every human, well, Sunstreaker is very happy with that idea, and in doing so aids Starscream and betrays the Autobots. This is later found out when Sunstreaker, absolutely wrecked by guilt by what he has done, revealing that, you know, for a violent sociopath, he is quite decent in his own right, informs them of this. Sunstreaker dies, gives his life, allowing to guard his Autobot companions to get away from the re-emerged swarm. And that is the end of Sunstreaker's tale, though with it being a comic series, there is almost some way that Sunstreaker will return. They will bring him back, I'm sure, at some point, because they do. As for Hunter, well, Hunter also dies. And you later find out that he is attached to a life support system, which Sideswipe deactivates as an act of mercy to Hunter, because Hunter as well has been ravaged and tortured by what has gone through with the binary bonding process, which is one of the things that they never really delved into in any of the continuities about how violent a procedure it is in regards to the process itself. The fact that Hunter and Sunstreaker, because of course they've shared identities, are very tortured by what's gone on between them. And that is the story of Sunstreaker. Quite a sad one, actually. Going along the lines of the much more adult-themed versions of the Transformers continuities now. Now then, on to the good bit, the toy. Has been styled as slightly similar to his old styling. He's still definitely much a Lamborghini, but he's lost that very definitive Lamborghini Countach shape, having a much more modern styling to it. Now this toy is really clever, because it's actually 2 toys in one. And you can have him in 2 different ways, because you can have him as Sunstreaker or his brother Sideswipe, and it's something that Hasbro have done. And it's one of the few times that I will give Hasbro an absolute 100% pass rate on a repaint, because they actually designed the toy to transform into 2 different robot modes, and it's brilliant. So, transforming into Sunstreaker, do the usual bit, snap to release the component parts. This is the way I do it, but then, as you know, anyone who's watched Dave's archery video can know, I'm rather heavy-handed. So I'll start with the legs, pull out the back bumpers, push them into place, fold the legs down, when you can fiddle them out. Yeah, you may notice that I've gone back to the same style of reviewing as I had before, as in really bad transformation jobs, but matched up with the character buyer. And that's after I did the Fireball video, well, the sidearm video. I got quite a mixed response from people who said, and a lot of it was basically saying, look, we can watch 101 different Transformers reviews on how to transform the guy. We prefer the way you do yours. So it's like, well, why fix it if it's not broken? So, it's back to the old style reviews, as which I'm sure most of you will appreciate, and whilst I'm talking, I'm having an absolute nightmare of a job getting his feet out! So really much back to the old style of reviews. Right, his feet are in his legs. You can just see them there. You just got to fiddle and diddle and get them out, and so I will go back to the old reliable method, Mr. Clippy, and just prise them out, hopefully without scratching it. Oh no, I won't scratch it, it's plastic. I wonder if I've actually got a genetic birth defect that means that when it comes to things like this, I simply can't do it. Give me an inch high Imperial Guard figure to paint, well, Games Workshop figure to paint, and I can do it, no problem. Bloody 6-inch action figure and I can't do a damn thing with it. This isn't working, you know. It really isn't. You know what? We'll leave the feet. Okay, pull the bonnet forward slightly. Well, till it extends out. And then just undo the arms through the wheels. Unhooking them from the door frame, obviously. Make sure the very front black grille is pumped up. And just lock it into place. You'll need to twist the arms upwards, which I find on the Sunstreaker mould that is actually a lot easier than on the Sideswipe mould, but there we go. So yeah, lift the arms up into place and snap them in at the waist. Oh yeah, obviously turning around at the waist as you usually do. Now this is a great little piece of automorph technology. I think this is fantastic. Turning the top of the car, like so. You can't even see that, hang on. Turning the top of the car, like so, produces the head! And there we have Sunstreaker, in his, very much his IDW imaginings. Now, the transformation on the legs and on the other toy is very much similar. The difference being with the Sideswipe toy, and I'll probably do a review of Sideswipe so I won't spoil it too much, is that it's still just a great little nifty little toy. Oh, lastly, you'll need Sunstreaker's back piece, and you just push that into place on the back part of the bonnet. And then, of course, he does have a gun, which I have to say, the gun is a bit of a letdown. It just seems rather piddly. This is a great little toy, which of course did get repainted into Punch and Counter Punch, and why Hasbro haven't actually jumped on that one and repainted it themselves, I don't know, because it's an absolutely great idea. And as soon as we knew that Transformers, Hasbro were bringing out this toy, we knew it was only I've just found out a really easy way of getting the feet out, never mind. There's a little tab right at the bottom of the leg. Just push it with a nail. Honestly, Simon. God, can you imagine if I was a surgeon? Ah, he doesn't need that long! Now I can't remember how his feet go. Interesting. Okay, I bet you I've mistransformed the legs, so anybody, you know, if I have mistransformed the legs, let me know. Because I bet you I have. In fact, I'm sure I have, I just haven't realised which way I've done it yet. Hey, it's definitely back to the old style of reviewing. Simon can't transform for a hell of money. There we go. Anyway, so you have Sunstreaker there in his robot mode, and he is an absolutely lovely toy. And not the greatest when it comes to posability, considering the way the arms are. He's got a fair degree of articulation, but there are better ones, i.e. Mirage, when it comes to the posability of the toys. No, I'm pretty sure that's it. scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Oh no, never mind. Hold on. I know what I've done wrong. I think. I've done something wrong, I know that much. 1 second. I'm going to figure. There we go. Hadn't turned the thighs round properly. Never mind, Simon. We'll put you back in your special little box soon. Now, anyway, as I was saying, this really is a nice little toy, and it was an absolutely fantastic idea by Hasbro to do the toy in this style. It does suffer, as I said, from posability options. The feet tend to be not as stable as they can be, so you know, for a lot of the really truly heroic action poses, you need them to have big feet, so it gives them a greater way of holding their balance. Sunstreaker's feet are quite small, so they don't really have that. But still, you know, you can still pose him in various action poses, and he still looks quite funky, and you can put him back to back with his brother and things like this. So overall, a nice toy, and a nice toy in the Generations line, but then as far as I'm concerned, for the most part, the Generations line can't do any wrong, as long as we don't bring Grimlock into it. But then I do find that Masterpiece Grimlock actually makes quite a decent size comparison to the others, because of course he is supposed to be absolutely freaking huge. But there we go. But yes, this has been Silverbolt with Sunstreaker. Hopefully, you know, you've enjoyed the fact that the video has come back to its old classic roots and everything's all good and hunky-dory now. But for now, this is Silverbolt with Sunstreaker signing off, saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen. And you know what, it's amazing, I keep going for the mouse to click the stop recording button on the webcam. I'll get used to this camera eventually.